Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans. Whenever you're listening or watching this show, you could be live with us. You could be watching back, listen to this as a podcast, whatever the case may be. What is going on? Welcome. I'm Mike Singer. With me, of course, is Tim Hyde. It is the middle of June, so we are talking Notre Dame football recruiting. If you're like, I don't really care about recruiting, we had a Notre Dame six-pack show for you on Tuesday that you're going to check out. Some great stuff with Jack Sobel and Tyler Horka. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this YouTube video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, what's up? Appreciate you. Hope your drive is going well or your work procrastination is good. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast, especially for those on Apple. We would really appreciate that. Tim, how's everything in the boathouse?
Oh, good. I was just laughing when you said you don't care about recruiting. I'm like, damn it, you better, because that's all that's happening right now until training camp kicks off and ND travels down to the Hurricanes to play down there in Miami. So yeah, it's all about recruiting 24/7. You better care about recruiting because these are the guys that are going to be taking the field trying to, get Notre Dame in the playoffs each and every year. So yeah, these guys, these little weekends that are happening right now matter. Or an even little weekday visit that's going on or finishing up. So yeah, everything matters.
Tim, I see some shrubbery behind you. Is the boat parked on land?
Yeah, we're getting the barnacles off right now.
All right, so yeah,
Actually, they have barnacles in the lake. I'm gonna have to, maybe.
I don't know, Tim, but I liked it. I thought that was witty and clever. So, like 2.5 hours before we went live, Notre Dame added a commitment from Grayson McHugh from LaSalle College. All right, if anyone is watching from that area, is LaSalle College in Glenside or is it Winmore? I do not understand which. I think it's Winmore, but also it could be Glenside if you're from that area or you're knowledgeable about PA and their city. I don't know. Please let me know. But I'm going to say Winmore, although it says Glenside. Anyways, 6'7", 280 pounds, the nation's number 278 overall player, number 21 offensive tackle on 3, has about 100 spots higher in the national rankings, 5 spots higher in the position rankings. Notre Dame beating up on your buddy James Franklin. Tim, Penn State is pissed about Grayson McHugh going to Notre Dame. So let's pop on the film, then we'll talk about his recruitment. Tim, how excited are you about this get for the Irish?
Very excited. Are you kidding me? Very excited. I'm so excited. I'm mad that you and Kyle did a damn video earlier, so that kind of ticks me off. So, yeah, I mean, I got my notes here. I was excited to watch this kid play. Super talented. The more you really watch him, at first you're like, yeah, he's a tall, skinny guy, moving. Then you really dive into it, and he's a lot of fun. You know me with offensive linemen, it's all about strike, leverage, and a finish. And definitely strikes. He's violent as could be. Very violent. Really violent. This is my favorite play right here at the DN. How tall is this guy? He looks like he's 7'3" out there playing DN against those guys. So that's a lot of fun to watch. His leverage, the thing that I truly, truly love. So I'm going to go full commitment mode on us right here, a little video. Is his ability to plant and read. Or look at that finish right there. I love that. Getting out in space. But his ability to plant, and what I'm looking for is he has a counter. And what I mean by that is if you're sliding off of where he's moving, this guy is athletic enough to redirect, plant his foot, and be able to slide back into position to win his play side gap leverage, his aiming points as an offensive tackle. So he's got some amazing skills already that you could see he's naturally going to grow into. And Mike, this guy, I mean, he's going to be a legit 6'7", 315, 320 pounds. He just is. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's a massive guy. His playing defensive line is all. Look at that. Oh my God, just rewind that, please. 10 seconds. It's like that strike, the one with the drone. Yeah, look at this. Look at this step, and then boom, be able to hit and power and stay engaged and bury you 8 yards downfield. Look at that. That's when Marcus Freeman talks about violence. That's violence right there. So he wins his play side gap, locks him out, and just absolute buries this guy. So, you start watching him and you just see like once again, a tall, power forward, 6'7" in the box, basketball player, an athlete, tremendous movement skills. And he's a lot of fun. It's interesting. He's not as fast as Emil Wagner, but his skill level, the way he redirects, was a lot like Emil. Emil was tall, skinny, obviously when he committed to ND. So a lot of this reminded me of that. Really tall, needs to get lower on a bunch of these plays, but I think that's just it's going to come naturally because he's so damn tall. But nice, man. And the other thing is, watching as an old line coach is just locking his arms out. This guy's wingspan's got to be freakish. So once he learns to get that leverage and get those elbows locked out, how does this guy? He's on par with the offensive tackles who signed the last couple of years.
Yeah,
he really is. God, down somebody. Go ahead and talk about a few things.
Tim. Well, I got a question. Is he? I'll just let you kind of dish on this, but is he a get your ass kicked on scout team, eat some pancakes? We'll see you in a couple years.
Yes, it's here. It is. I put my notes down because I even went back and rewatched Styles Prescott. And
of course you did, Tim.
Yeah, I did. I have no. My God, no. I got to get out more.
And you have 3 kids.
I know exactly. You got to get out more. I had softball, baseball. I got 12 different things going on. But and Matty Augustine, just as an athlete, he is on par with them without a doubt athletically, because both those guys were obviously recruited to be true offensive tackle, left tackle type candidates. And Grayson has those same traits and ability as those guys. So, and then I have not studied his offer. So today, obviously when you and I were talking about the show, I went and looked at his offers. Dude, everyone started coming after this guy in the last couple of months. Everybody. Bama, Ohio State, obviously Penn State, Notre Dame, but it's like just Texas, down the list of guys that came after him. So that was very, very exciting to see the amount of elite programs going through that spring, late winter evaluation period. And like, man, we love this guy. And because what you see is as a natural tackle.
Yeah,
exactly. A guy, hey, go eat, enjoy your steak and mashed potatoes, lift like crazy, and we're going to see when you're 312 pounds. And that's what he's going to be in about 18 months after lifting at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think Penn State kind of felt like they had a hidden gem early on in the cycle, and then he blew up, and then they were probably ticked. And I think as of before he called and told Penn State that he's committing to Notre Dame, which if today's Wednesday, as we were recording this live, of course, you're watching back on YouTube, might be a different day, but I think he told them on Tuesday. I think Tuesday morning or early afternoon. Penn State not very happy. They thought they had that one. So let me talk about his development real quick, Tim. I'm going to read an article or part of an article that Kyle Kelly wrote on McHugh. He said before McHugh's junior year, he only held offers from Duke and Syracuse. So very early on, just a couple offers. Gained 100 pounds since his sophomore year of high school. Combined with a standout junior season, he got first team All-State honors. This rapidly elevated his profile. In November, Penn State offered, and then 14 other Power 4 programs. Notre Dame joined later on in the process, kind of like his second blow up, if you will. Has been compared to Joe Alt. Kyle also wrote, like McHugh, Alt was a late bloomer. Alt was, 240-pound tight end, and then became the number 5 pick in the NFL draft. And then McHugh said, they think I'm that guy and can turn out similar to someone like Joe Alt. So you talked about like the DN film, like this was someone in McHugh who, very similar transformation. I don't know if you remember me saying this about Joe Alt when he was a high school recruit. Didn't we have Joe Alt on this show? Didn't we, before the NFL draft?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I remember telling Joe, like, when you were a recruit, I felt like every time I mentioned your name, you gained 5 pounds. And, he thought that was funny. I had probably told him that a few times before, but I feel like, McHugh is got a kind of similar trajectory. Like when you look at the OV offensive line visitors for Notre Dame this past weekend, it was McHugh and then the 4 commits. Grayson is definitely, the long, lean one who looks more like a tight end than he does an offensive tackle right now. And that's probably my favorite thing about him, Tim, is you want these high upside tackles, especially at Notre Dame when they can sit and develop for a couple years at minimum, like you always say, get your ass kicked on scout team. We'll see you in a few years and, let this kid become a freak.
That's college football offensive line 101. There's very few that could come in and play on day one. That's like, everyone's like, well, Will Black's going to start. You know how hard that is? It is like so hard as a true freshman. Even at the elite, obviously Notre Dame is, over the last 10 years is a top 5-6 when it comes to wins. I'm talking, some of these national championship type teams, Will Campbell was a 5-star, went to LSU, top 5 pick in the NFL, and he started on day one. So it's not everyone does that. So it is extremely, extremely hard to do as a freshman. So there's nothing wrong with lifting, nothing wrong with eating, getting your butt kicked, as I like to say. Seriously, just like some grown men drive blocking you because you're not used to going against, a Bryce Young, Boubacar Traore in high school, and you're trying to kick step those guys as a freshman, you're going to get beat up. So it's just a natural progression. And Freeman's been talking about that, right? Choose hard. Damn it, choose hard means trying to learn how to play offensive line at an elite college football level. So, but he definitely, man, his traits, it's hard because obviously everyone's always going to be compared to Joe Alt, but Joe Alt was a freaking true tight. Joe Alt were 17 running 5-yard stick runs. Okay, so trying to compare those guys, but you look at the body. And I just like how Grayson has that whole. I'm sure he does track. I haven't even looked at. I look up everyone's track guys. I wonder if he did shop, but I mean, look at that. I know he's a basketball player, an XDN, tight end, and then obviously it's like, buddy, you're getting bigger, like you're saying, and you're going to play. And then, as I like to say, I have no life, as you know. So one of the things I started watching in Grayson was some of his hands. His hands in path blocking is just an ability to slide. And I'm a huge. I've watched the living heck out of Joe Thomas over the years. Obviously, he's NFL Hall of Famer, left tackle, great one. Notre Dame recruited the heck out of him before he went to Wisconsin. But Joe Thomas is just his hand placement. Not that Grayson's Joe, but you start to see some of these traits, and he's still learning. And I think that's just what's so excited about this young man. And exciting, Mike. Heck, let's go to the offensive line class. It's 5 guys for crying out loud. So I love it.
It is. McHugh joining Gregory Patrick, who is a swing offensive lineman, could really play any of the 5 positions. Sullivan Garvin, Ben Nichols, Tyler Merrill, all project as interior guys. I guess I wouldn't rule out tackle for Garvin or Merrill, but they're probably inside guys. Patrick being recruited as a tackle, you'll come here and then potentially could move inside. And there could. Tim, when's the last time we saw a 6-man offensive line class at Notre Dame? We'll get to that in a little bit, but that is very possible for this recruiting cycle.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the comments. Sly Fox mentions Orlando Pace. Orlando Pace is the best college offensive lineman I've ever seen. He was a day one starter because he's number 1 pick in the damn NFL draft. So that's easy to see. But McGlinchey's class, that was 5. Obviously 5 with Alton Fisher.
Yep.
13 class was 5. And then Notre Dame with Harry Hiestand was always so damn picky. Drove me nuts. It's like, dude, just bring in 5. He would always pick 3 here, 4 there, 3 here. Obviously, 2020, how in the hell do you only recruit 2 for crying out loud? That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, Baker and Baker and Carmody. Not a great group.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah. So they had those 2, and then it was the big class, and then obviously back-to-back 5s, 4s, and now back-to-back 5s here. But
maybe 6. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And you just look at it. It makes sense. Number 1, Georgia, a big thing that's always been an underlining theme for Kirby Smart is, he's 5'6" every damn year. I think I went back. I think he's only like 1 year he signed 4. So his philosophy is, man, let's just bring in a bunch of dudes. There's going to be some injuries, some guys whittle away, and then the best are going to play, obviously. So that's been his philosophy. So I'm a big fan of 5 because you're going to have injuries. I mean, just look at Joe Alt's class, 2 instantly, left, or excuse me, just 1, and then the 2 transfers and 2 went pro early. And then you got the next class. Remember Joey Tanona, stud, injured, couldn't play. Tai Chan gone. And then obviously at the 23 group, you already got Pendleton, but Otting, Tarek, Absher, we're still not sure about those guys, right? So there could only be one true dude in that class, which is Jagasol. And then obviously in 24 is only a 4-man class. And then you got, the class last year was only 4, but it's all tackles outside of Cam Heron. So it's bringing in 6. If they bring in the other guy that I know they've offered, super athlete as well, but that's a true tight end to tackle, which is a long history at Notre Dame of success. So we'll knock on wood on that one.
Yeah, Rick says 105 scholarships. Why not? Yeah, that's true. The thing about it is, like, for one, you can, but Notre Dame's not going to do 105. They're going to have walk-ons.
Sure.
I think if we're playing this as a video game, it's like, just do 105 and bring in the best guys. But there's not like a culture aspect in a video game. Like I think you don't want too big of a room.
I agree.
Some guys are going to transfer out. Yeah. And there's a survival of the fittest thing, but you do want the guys to click. And I don't think you don't want to take a guy just to take a guy. If the guy can play at Notre Dame, let's have that discussion. But at some spots it's like, man, Notre Dame could, maybe use another player at this position. Why don't they just offer this guy? Like, maybe he's not that good, but we need another body. Notre Dame doesn't really operate like that. I'm not saying, Rick, that you're advocating for that, but it's just, that's a common thing. It's like, oh man, take 8 defensive linemen and 14 receivers, figure it out later. It's like, it's not really how the world works. There's the culture aspect of it that I think is really important. That kind of covers a lot of different things. We could spend a lot of time on that, but
but just real quick on that, Mike, the 105, you're right. It's not 105 full. They may only give
it 90. Can be, but they're not going to.
Exactly. They may only do 90 and save 15, but those 15 are receiving something. They're going to get, because they're on the team. So they're going to get some form of NIL. They may get some of the, half tuition or whatever the heck's covered. So, but also, man, the long history of some of those walk-ons, some of those guys, you want some of those walk-ons. We call them at the Southern California Catholic schools, you call them full payers. So those are the full payers that are going to be future billionaires, right? You want those guys in your roster. The Mr. Shields, who's building $100 million facility with a little, check he just donated. You want those guys on your roster. Those guys are very, very important. What is it? The longtime manager for the Rock Band Chicago. I know Eric Hansen wrote a great feature on him back. He played during the era years. A walk-on who's kept that thing going. So there's unbelievable history of walk-ons. Don't have to say the most famous one, which is Rudy. So,
what's funny? You just mentioned Rudy. I saw a tweet from some angry fan. The original tweet was about. Did you see? You know what I'm talking about?
No, but the whole. Just go on. I want to hear.
So it was some random college football account that was like, who has the most annoying fan base? And this girl is like saying all the reasons for Notre Dame, and it's like just very common stuff. You know what this lady said? All they do is talk about Rudy. I'm like, I have been Notre Dame, recruiting writer for 6 years.
Yeah,
Rudy comes up here, like no one really talks about Rudy.
No, it's a fun name.
We never talk about Rudy.
No,
exactly. Especially like the movie. She meant the movie. When do we ever? We don't ever really talk about the movie Rudy.
No. You and I have never broken Rudy down the movie. So, but no, that's funny. Just quick, that
was weird.
It's so funny whenever.
But you just brought him up, of course.
No. But the anti-Notre Dame group is always join a conference and Rudy's offsides. That's all we hear on from the other side. But exactly, people walk on. Those walk-ons, I'm telling you, man, there's some dudes in there end up having some good cash that you want to be good buddies with someday down the road. So they do matter at Notre Dame.
Yeah. All right, folks, let's hear from Auggies Locker Room. We know you love Notre Dame memorabilia and unique one-of-a-kind Notre Dame items that you can only find at one place, and it is Auggies Rocker Room. Moved to a new location as of the fall of 2023. So if you haven't been to Auggies Locker Room in a while, the new location is 1733 North Ironwood Drive. So make sure you see Auggies' new store right down the street from Notre Dame. So, I mean, just looking at their website, augieslockerroom.com/shop, you can, I mean, just always something unique and new. Notre Dame helmets, replica size signed by Rocket. You can get 2011 game used Notre Dame football Shamrock Series helmet, number 96. Tim, you want to drop just a cool 10 grand on this helmet? What do you think?
No, but what's the teddy bear? What's that going for over there?
300 limited Notre Dame football Cooperstown Bear.
$300 teddy bear. I like that. Love that.
I mean, rare stuff, but I mean, I think there's something for everybody at Augie's Locker Room. So whether you're just shopping online or you need to get your, maybe a late Father's Day gift for yourself, or you're in town or you're local, go to Augie's Locker Room, again, 1733 North Ironwood Drive, just down the street from campus, and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Augie's got some incredible stuff. You're going to check it out. AuggiesLockerRoom.com, 574-277-6363. All right. Appreciate you, Augie, for sponsoring this week's show. Hit the thumbs up, folks, on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've always wanted to email him, see if he's got any like used socks. You got any Joe Alt socks, to sell, something just random, right?
He does have a contact page, so if you
say, Augie would have it. I mean, he's unbelievable. This guy finds everything.
Just reach out to him. Yeah, and Tim Hyde wants Joe Alt's used socks. You what?
I love it. Not really. It's just comedy there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. What else?
All right,
let's
talk about.
Everyone's talking about Rudy on the chat. I love it.
All right, let's talk about this, Tim. This was nice. Thomas Davis Jr. announced that he's shutting it down. He did an interview with me, and he's like, it was so, like, on Sunday afternoon after his OV, he was like, so good to be back home. And I asked him, what do you think about your commitment, like in Georgia? And he was like, I'm committed here. Like, he's not a big, he doesn't give like these robust long answers. Thomas is pretty straight to the point. But he did formally announce today that he's shutting it down. Georgia folks are not shocked by this, from my understanding. I really think I shouldn't say my understanding. My theory that I feel like is probably accurate is that either his dad or someone in TJ's family was like, listen, your dad played here, or I played, if it was the dad. Just go on the OV. We don't have anything to do this weekend. Let's just go see Georgia. Let's take this official visit. He went, he heard them out, and then he went to Notre Dame, and he's locked in. So I think this is a really nice development to kind of have this official. Like, it felt like a mini commitment, Tim, just to have this one locked in. So before we get your thoughts on this, Tim, for the last few recruiting shows, I've been arguing with Kyle Kelly about this, and I don't think we finalized a bet. I was like, I will bet you whatever you want that TJ's going to stick in this class. I don't think we ever finalized it, because he was very much, well, if you're a commit and you officially visit elsewhere, you decommit and sign somewhere else. That has been true. Tim, I post this on the board to try to get their insight, more heads than just mine in on this, maybe figure it out. Logan Diggs was a Notre Dame commit, and then he got offered by LSU. I can't remember if he officially visited LSU before he signed with Notre Dame. But if it wasn't Diggs, then the last Notre Dame commit to officially visit elsewhere as a commit and then stick with his commitment and not decommit was Jerry Tillery. And he was, 2015 class?
Is that? Yeah, I've not read that thread. Is that what
I think that's the, unless Diggs
being committed, because obviously Notre Dame had some guys decommitted. Yeah,
Deion Colsey or Philip Riley decommitted from Notre Dame, officially visited USC, committed to USC, and then flipped back to Notre Dame. So that's happened. But this, if TJ signs with Notre Dame, like, it's been, again, I'm not sure about Diggs, but this would definitely be the first one of the Freeman era.
I thought Yeah, no. I thought Diggs did trip. I thought that was a big thing down in LSU.
I tried finding some articles, and then you try to Google it, and it's all about like his transfer
Yeah,
recruitment.
I know.
So I couldn't find anything on Diggs officially visiting LSU. I did also I
Yeah,
researched for maybe 2 minutes, but
if he did it, yeah, but he definitely visited. So that's
I do remember him visiting the
yeah.
weekend or two before signing day.
No, that's it. I mean, it's always the Southern guys. Let's just be honest. A lot of the times it's the Southern guys because as I've talked about this on some shows before, is getting cold feet is real. It is real. You're asking a guy to go move, 1,500, 2,000 miles away, whatever the heck it is, uproot, where he's born and raised from, his whole area, to leave the SEC country to go play at Notre Dame is not, yeah, that's Marcus Freeman, right? Choose hard. It's not easy. So yes, whenever a kid down south goes to another Southern school to check it out, the odds are he's gone. All right, the old hashtag he gone. So the fact that I know you hate that one, but it's true. Uh,
Well,
him,
he ain't gone. He
no,
hashtag not gone.
yeah, until he is right, Mike. That'll be the follow up, right? Until he is, or or we don't care until he signs, but then he could leave anytime anyway. So what's it all matter? Check back in 2 years. But
Well, then
anyway,
what's the point of any of this?
no, him locking in is obviously it's first off it's huge because there's no other linebackers they're recruiting. So one linebacker class would
Yeah,
stink. So that
yeah.
was
Well,
vital.
they would replace him, but yeah, that would be a near disaster.
And he was a pot of gold guy. He's been in the class for a long time. It seems like he's been a Notre Dame lean for a long time.
Yeah.
As you and Kyle have been talking about him. So him staying is a big victory. Big victory for keeping him away from the SEC, which is great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something nice. I think they're just going to take two. Like Tank King was someone who I had predicted pretty. Maybe it was in this early in the spring. I predicted him to Notre Dame. I ended up flipping that to Texas A&M, and I don't think they're going to take a third linebacker. I mean, if you're taking 6 offensive linemen potentially, who knows? They could get a third tight end or something. Like I'm saying that as they don't even have a tight end commit, but they're recruiting Frizel, Jacobson, and Bremer. Like, who knows? You have to cut somewhere. So I think they're just going to take 2 linebackers. They would have only done 3 if they would have been able to get like the Talanoa kid who went to USC, or if Tank King wanted to come. But I think they're just going to stick with 2. Now that I say that, I feel like I think recruiting staffs sometimes get bored in the fall. They're like, let's go get a late kid. They're like watching film of senior year. It's like, all right, let's go get this kid, or hey, we can flip this kid. So I say that now, but
no,
we'll
it's
see.
and I'll be honest. Outside of I always liked Clapper. I loved when they offered him. Really loved his film.
Another pot of gold day, Tim. Wow, that pot of gold.
Yeah, that's a big
Sure
one.
is something.
Well, you know what? That's a good show to go dive back into this thing down the road and check out the numbers on that one because
Do you really want to?
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think that'll go well for you.
It's good. It's okay. Yeah, success is okay. Damn it.
You already ate some crow on that one before.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, success is good, but linebacker wise, I was always Johnson out of Ohio or Talanoa. I thought those were the 2 best. The rest of them are all solid guys. Those 2 are difference makers. Notre Dame obviously struck out on the 2 best on the board, but those are my 2 favorite. Not the greatest linebacker offer list I felt Notre Dame did this year. That was just my opinion watching film. So got a couple solid guys. Keep your 2. They've kind of over recruited that the last few years, going back to they only play 2 anyway. They only play 3 if it's a goal line type of a package. So very rarely did they play 3 last year. It's only Penn State where Penn State was in 12 personnel, 75% of the game. So we saw 3 linebackers and it didn't work because they ran for 200 and some odd yards on them. So being in 3 backers, it really didn't help ND. So 2's fine. They're a nickel D. Keep recruiting guys. Keep loading up. They're fine. And they've been redshirting like hell the last couple of years. So they got a lot of dudes with a lot of years left on their resume still to go.
I had a guy reach out to me not too long ago about like he works at like this computer tech company. He was like, I want to get you set up with some stuff. I am losing my mind. My mouse sucks so bad. My keyboard ghost types. So if that guy's watching, please reach out to me. I'm losing my mind over here. I can barely do this show. All right, it's working again. All right, Tim, I want to talk about four. Well, it's going to be five, but Grayson committed four players who have been predicted to Notre Dame this week. All of them we're going to talk about are by Steve Wilfong has done picks for all these guys. We'll start with Kari Adams. Well, first of all, if we just look at the official visit list for Notre Dame last week, the targets.
All right.
Even Primer's on campus right now, the tight end from Great Bend. I should have more on him tonight or tomorrow morning or something on the website. Please subscribe. We had a ton of signups yesterday, man. You guys have been awesome with that. I mean, I think Notre Dame literally leads for all their targets who were on campus. I think they get Joey O'Brien. I think they get Kari Adams. Caden Finley's close. I'm gonna roll with my pick on Caden Finley, but he officially visits Texas this weekend. That one's legitimately very close. I think they get Evan Jacobson, who's at Iowa State right now. I think they get Braden Robinson.
Really? The slot?
I think they get Devin Fitzgerald. I think they get Nick Reddish.
Oh, Reddish.
I think they get Preston Friesel.
So
that was legitimately the best official visit weekend I've ever covered. They did such a freaking good job. The staff did such a good job. But you know what? They may have done a shitty job, Tim, but all they needed to do was have those kids to be together. Because every single kid I interviewed said his favorite thing about the visit was hanging out with the other commits and the players. The players are so cool. Like you get Jaden Greathouse is a superstar. And like he's a superstar around there. Bro had those two pop-off games and big stages, and he's a superstar. And you know who's a superstar, as the kids say, he has some aura to him, is Dylan Faison.
Okay.
He's a low 3-star who doesn't get talked about a ton in the media, but on these visits, he is like the guy. You have Javian Osborne, a big recruiter. You have Noah Grubbs, Thomas Davis, like these guys known as recruiting for Notre Dame a ton. They do a great job. Don't get me wrong. Faison, I just hear these amazing things about Faison and how the kids gravitate towards him and how he's just the coolest cat. So shout out to Dylan Faison. I'll have a story about him sometime.
Hey, that's the 5-star lacrosse player, man. You can't be a 5-star without having some juice and a little bit of a it factor around you. Even, I know it's lacrosse, but still, that means he's out there punking dudes. He's owning guys, and he's doing some of that on the football film because schools are coming after him hard. But that's fascinating to hear. That's the first thing. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that's probably his lacrosse background.
Yeah,
and I'm better than you. Let's go play ball.
So I legitimately think they could go 9 for 9. Now, logically, you would say 7 for 9. Just based on, there's no way they get 9 for 9. That parlay never happens, right? But dude, they literally might sign 21 guys, and they only have 2 OV weekends, so it's like 21 from that weekend. You have 4 commits coming in this weekend, and then, I mean,
it's
to end the show, Tim, we'll talk about a couple. We'll talk about the guys visiting this weekend, but they could get.
But I have a quick question for you. Is the timeline? I don't know if you study this or if you know, but the timeline's changed, right? Kind of like when it's July 1st, it's a dead period now. No more visits, or that last week of June is kind of not to put you on the spot, but I think, right? I mean, I know things keep changing with official visits and all that, right? I think
it's been very common. No, it depends on like
the NCAA has like a true hardened dead period now where no one's on campus anymore.
Yeah, all of July is now dead. You used to be able to take unofficials at the end of July. That's when Notre Dame did their grill and chill.
Yes.
If you remember, they did that after Irish Invasion this year,
yes.
which, by the way, I'm walking with Tyler Horka to the library to record a video after Invasion. Did you watch that, Tim? Of course you did. You studied it, and you watched it backwards too. We walked by the grill and chill. We saw, it was pretty cool. Saw the kids playing cornhole and stuff. It was awesome. I was like this when I walked by. I was like, I'm not allowed to see. I don't know. This is weird. The
Someone in
public space. I mean, but anyways, what's up?
hold on. Someone in the chat. What was the Jim Harbaugh? They did a big barbecue. People were posting on.
Oh, and it was like a elementary school lunch looking thing. Some dino nuggets.
Yeah, like uncooked. Yeah, dino nuggets. Yeah, and uncooked hot dogs or something. I remember seeing.
I had a point on something that I was talking about. Oh, the calendar. Yeah, the last week of June is dead. I think it's just
Okay.
depending on when the month starts, on what day or something. But yeah,
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
so it's normal. It's been this way for a while. I remember like a decade ago, August used to be also visit August. You used to be able to visit in August for fall camp practices, but that's been dead for several years, which
Yeah, for a while now.
personally I love.
Yes.
I can chill a little bit, but Tim, let's dive into just. I'm gonna give you these names. I'll talk about it for a second, and then you tell me how big of a deal this would be for Notre Dame. And we talked about all these guys last week in the same show, but if Notre Dame's able to land Kari Adams, he was predicted to the Irish by Steve Wiltfong on Wednesday morning. Be a pretty big one, Tim.
Yes. Move on. Next player. I mean, yes. Yeah. I mean, you're getting a top 50-ish type, football player. We talked about this, last week, right on the show. Just the athleticism, the length. He's Cam Hart, basically Cam Hart at 3 years into college. That's what he looks like already as a high school football player. So I see, massive. I mean, he's got to be at the end of the day. This is a top 50 football player. I mean, you start looking at some of these guys. You go him, O'Brien. Some of these guys are like Notre Dame may have 5-6 guys in that top 50 to 75 range. Mike, that's pretty.
Yeah. I want someone in the show, maybe next week or something. Ask me. Someone jot this down about my predictions, my public predictions, because I think I've predicted 7 of the 9 uncommitted targets. Grayson, I didn't pick. And I have, just ask me about it next week. Just ask me about it next week. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
And the last thing on Adams is, you and I have talked about this off air. Of, I think it was even on the message board you were chatting about. Is this an upset? And I mean, yes, I say it is, because Notre Dame does not get Maryland kids, not like this. So this is a huge, huge kid. I think, if it happens and it gets finalized here. So yes, This is big.
Yeah, his commitment date is kind of TBD. His he posted a picture at Maryland today, and went up the road to Maryland. So I'm not sure what that is all about, but I'm liking where Notre Dame's at with Kari Adams. I logged a prediction on Monday. I think I was the first to do that. I always love being the first on predictions. That's my favorite thing. I don't love being second or third. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Devin Fitzgerald from Phoenix Brophy Prep. Of course, Notre Dame landed Ben Morrison and Cree Thomas from this school. 6'2", 185 pounds. For a class that needs some size at receiver, Fitzgerald would definitely provide that. Really nice player. I think like a floor of Deion Colsey and a ceiling of Chase Claypool. And that's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he reminds me a lot of Jaden Thomas. And I guess a poor man's Bo Collins. Bo Collins was a good blue chipper out of St. John Bosco, no breakaway speed. But I'll be honest with you, Mike, his consensus rating is like 150 wide receivers. Who the hell are these 149 wide receivers? Not that he's, I mean, I would put him as a good 3-star. I'd put him in that 400 to 500 type of a range. And you start to watch this kid's film, and you just like, all right, let me just focus on this. Obviously, Brophy Prep, really damn good high school football in that, in that Phoenix area, really good. That's some of the best public school ball in that whole, Southwest region out there. But he's a lot better than I think that's being talked about, just because they say, oh, it's a 3-star. He's solid, man. And on top of that, it's going back to Burris, who obviously was on the team now. The dad traits, you start to see it, and I going back to some of the stuff on Burris is, man, these guys want to please their dads, and their dads were damn good players, which to me as a coach would be like, these guys are going to work. They're worker bees. They're going to put the effort in. They're going to be team guys, and I think that's pretty vital. And he's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Really, really good hands as well. So he'd be a solid get. Notre Dame needs damn wide receivers. So
Yeah.
get him, develop him. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I think this is going to end up being a 5-man receiver class, which will be pretty welcome because I feel like Notre Dame has wanted 5-man receiver classes recently, and then they just don't get them. And then if Notre Dame's able to land Preston Friesel, that's kind of like, that would be like 5.5 because this dude's, 6'4", 215 pounds, another fun one. I predicted him to Notre Dame before his OV, and Steve Wiltfong did after 6'12". Never mind, that was also before the OV. So I don't know. We're talking about Friesel then. This was just kind of like this week's, but there you go. Preston Friesel. I guess the news on him is that he announced a commitment date of next Monday with Miami, Iowa, and Notre Dame as his finalists. And I've thought that Notre Dame was going to land this kid from the second they offered him. It's like, man, a Toledo Central Catholic kid. I feel like Notre Dame's going to get him. Tim, do you want to spend 30 seconds on him?
Yeah, just look at the 3 finalists, and you mix in Stanford, and there's probably your 4 best, tight end schools the last 20 years. When you're looking at the guys Miami has kicked out over the years, Iowa is just Iowa. They just grow them in that state. Stanford's had elite tight ends, and obviously Notre Dame is tight end U. So that's a heck of a finalist group for a slot tight end, big boundary receiver in high school, and see the projection with him. So very exciting for him. Hell of a route runner. Absolutely a must watch, just to watch a big wide receiver and see what he's going to look like down the road.
Yep. And Tim Hyde loves City of Toledo. Charlie Tom, this was interesting. This is a new offer this week. He camped at Notre Dame last Monday. Blue and Gold reported that. And then Irish staff decided to offer him. He announced it Tuesday. He got the offer on Monday night. And from what I'm being told, Notre Dame's going to plan on taking him. And I think he's going to end up at Notre Dame. You can find a lot more on Tom. I wrote an article specifically on him. And then I wrote this comprehensive overview of where Notre Dame's 2026 class stands. Let me just find the part I wrote on the offensive line, because that's I think the only outdated part about it. I said Grayson McHugh is trending toward Notre Dame. So I kind of covered that, but check that out. If you're a member at blueandgold.com, read it. If you're not a member at Blue and Gold, what the hell are you doing? But Tim, talking about Grayson McHugh to start the show, and like kind of the Joe Alt background parallels. Charlie's might even be more so. 6'6.5", 270 pounds. He's Tim, for as long as I've been doing this, I've never really understood this. So he was a senior, and now he's at prep school at Avon Old Farms.
Yep.
You might know that background more with you living up in the Northeast, but so I'll for folks watching on YouTube, pop on his senior year film at Darien, but now he is at Avon prep in Connecticut. So his mom went to Notre Dame, and he grew up a Notre Dame fan, and I think Notre Dame is going to bully Penn State yet again for this kid who somehow is playing tight end as a senior. So another late bloomer.
No, he's going to be. You're taking him. That's going back to the gentleman who was talking about 105 scholarships. You're taking him to be in those early 90s as a scholarship. You're taking a flyer on him because he's 6'7". Right? He's 6'6", 6'7". He's in that range. He's going to keep growing, and you're going to develop him. He's got an extra year of high school. That's what the prep is. You get a 1-year prep if you want to take it. So he's taking it, building his academics up, and then obviously his body. I'm sure he'll play tackle this year at the prep school.
Yeah,
get his feet wet and get ready to come to Notre Dame in January, and get the work. So he's basically taking a redshirt year, playing 1 year at left tackle instead of doing it at Notre Dame. But definitely a flyer, and I think it's a smart move. Just, man, tall, athletic guys. Notre Dame has a long history that, if he commits, I'm going to rattle off a dozen names that are just some legendary football players that have played at Notre Dame. So pretty exciting.
Yeah. Folks watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. Tim, quick look at this weekend. You have 4 Notre Dame commits. You got the 5-star Rodney Dunham, the near 5-star Ebenezer Uwatade, at least according to On3's own rankings. Bubba Frazier, speedy receiver from Savannah, Georgia, and Kobe Clapper from Cincinnati, linebacker. There's your 4 commits. And then Elijah Golden. Oh, man, what an important target for the Irish. 6'3.5", 260 pounds, like a flex defensive lineman, move around, play 5-tech, play 3-tech. Donovan Webb, kind of a wild card from Frisco, Texas. He's visiting as far as I'm told, by the way. I'm pretty sure he's coming to town. And then Tom, who we just talked about, Charlie Tom, from Avon Old Farms Prep in Connecticut. So, yeah, not as many guys. It was going to have several more, but then some guys just came off the board. And I think some of that is by design. I'm sure they kind of knew what they were doing with that. But, yeah, big recruiting weekends for Notre Dame. Not as many guys, but this Elijah Golden visit is simply huge. So I like Notre Dame to land Golden. I think they're going to get that done. I love Notre Dame to land Charlie Tom, and then Donovan Webb. I have no idea. I really don't know. Notre Dame's in his top 4, and he's going to commit in a couple weeks. But Michigan, Texas Tech, and like Kansas State, I think, are the other schools. So, Tim, quick thoughts on the OV weekend coming up for the Irish, and then Ian Premer, elite tight end from Kansas, on campus right now.
Yeah, Premer's now. This is a biggie because you obviously want to keep Frazier in the fold. Super talented young man out of the great state of Georgia, and then obviously your bookends out of North Carolina. Just have them have a great weekend, finalize that thing. Clapper from down the road, Cincinnati Catholic, have him have a great time. The DB, I saw his name. I'm like, okay, where did he come from? The little hidden gem. But the key, Golden, and just talk about Golden again. That's it. You only got 3 defensive linemen. You only got 1 interior guy. You need a 4-man haul. They're going to be playing a true 4-man front. You and I arm wrestled a couple weeks ago about D tackle has been really, really light. I feel at Notre Dame since Freeman and Washington, they're loading up at DN. D tackle's been weak, and Golden's got tremendous NFL skills. His takeoff, his burst. He's a DN playing inside with his skills, his movement skills, the way he could change direction and attack. So he is the most important one because you could steal a damn kid out of the South and away from Alabama. That's like getting Thomas Davis away from Georgia. Now you're getting Golden away from Alabama. Obviously the 2 ends you've gotten away from the SEC. So this is a great weekend for a small group of guys, but Golden's the key. Seriously, he makes – the 4-man front would be Tiki Hola, 2 legit pass rushers, and a freakish 3 technique, big end type of a body in Golden. That's a damn good 4-man haul.
This – you laying Golden, it goes to be Notre Dame's best defensive line class in a long time. If you don't – you just don't know who they can flip or – what they would do from there. They would still go get somebody, but you're just going into the fall. Like last year when Notre Dame struck out a receiver with summer OVs and then had to, turn to names. They almost got a freakazoid in Jalen Cooper, but he ended up at SMU. So it's like you can still do that. You can go for that flip, but it's not ideal. It's not the most ideal thing. So you land Elijah Golden. And then the freak out about Alistair Vallejo a couple weeks ago will be not even discussed. So, love Alistair, by the way, as a player. But, you get Golden. Yeah.
That's who they need to flip. That's who they need to go flip. They need to Alistair. Go flip him, steal him from Michigan. Easy as that. So, his commitment video is like 28 minutes. No one talks that long, which tells me he's nervous as hell. He was flipping coins in his head till he picked it. So, that's who you go after is that son of a gun because he's damn good. He's talented. But that's Tiki's buddy. So that's Tiki's job to work on that bad boy.
Yeah. All right, we're going to end the show there. Tim and I may have some, other things to discuss as we sign off. So we're going to sign off now. If you have not done so yet, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Our next live show is actually planned for tomorrow. We're planning on going for our recruiting show. We want to do it on Thursday for this week. So check us out. I believe we're kind of like looking at like 2 p.m. Eastern time. So don't find us on Friday. It's most likely going to be on Tuesday. Me and Kyle will discuss some of the things that Tim and I did in this video, but get a different lens on it from Kyle. So make sure you check that out. Appreciate you all for tuning in. And as always, we'll catch you next time.